Good evening from Hooked Fishing. September the 17th tonight, now on a Sunday evening. We're down the Barrage down Cardiff. High water is about 9:30 tonight. Reasonable sized tides, they are getting bigger now, but it's not the best weather. We got southeasterlies, but it isn't too strong at the moment. The tide is just pushing in now. We've got quite a lot of sand in front of us at the moment, well, mud, so we have come down a little bit early to set up. I don't know what the quality of audio is like. I will check it, but I have brought my little tent with me so we can get a bit of shelter. Fishing tonight for predominantly bass, congers, maybe the odd ray, but mainly bass and congers. Had some lovely little joey mackerel this week, so we're using them as bait, but we'll get back to you now shortly with some fish on the bank, hopefully. So we've got all three rods in the water now. I got two rods in, both on pulleys, double sand eel on one, mackerel on the other, and Dan's got a pulley out there with a whole squid on. So the tide has started pushing in now. It's covered the mud in front of us. I'm not going to rush getting traces set up yet. Leave them in the water for a period of time now. There's no one else here fishing at the moment, but I've seen a few fish coming off here, so I'd imagine that there will be people showing up. So a lovely knock early on here now. Went left there, thought it was a bit like a bass, took line. Left there, come back, and then we had a beautiful bar gold silver. Can't speak yet. It's a PB for me, definitely. That's on the joeys we had this week, so we'll get this back. We're going to keep this at the table actually. I might do a catch and cook. We'll get a joey back out now and then reflect. Cheers. Oof, yeah, so now the dust has settled, a bit calmer, my heart was pounding then. Excitement, like I say, when I was pulling it up a wall, I only just managed to get my hand on the shock leader. And for you, those of you who know the Barrage, it's quite a steep drop. So we haven't got a drop net, but I managed to get my hand on the shock leader. But as I was pulling it up, the shock leader slipped and the fish dropped about 2 to 4 foot down and didn't fall off, luckily. But I wouldn't have landed it by myself probably. Lucky Dan was there to walk back with my rod, so I appreciate that. Makes up for the one he lost on the boat to me now, a year back or two. But yeah, that was on the joey mackerel. The ones I caught this week down in Porthcawl. So they were very small, they were perfect bait size, and that's all I've been speaking about all week, is how good these were for bass. And first cast was successful. But I don't really take fish home, as you know, but I'm taking this one home today now for the table. Might do a bit of a catch and a cook. Gonna get at least a good 4, maybe 6 fillets off it. So yeah, Dan's wanting some, so I think he deserves a bit, like fish and chips it is. So yeah, first cast that was. There's a nice bit of tide, you know. Hopefully we can get stuck into some more fish. Really want to try and get Dan into his first bass now. He's set himself target is, you know, 10 different species, and he's pushing close. About 3 out, I think. So if we can get a bass today, that's another one. A couple of casts in now. It's turned into a really pleasant evening. The skies have cleared up, the winds have dropped. Perfect out there for bass. Nice little bit of a rip. Maybe some conger in a bit as well now when the tide starts pushing him over. We're about 3 hours off high. Dan have started nicking my joeys as well now for bass. And have a little go on a squid as well. Got some whole squids out. Varying the distance as well, because we don't know where they could be. But the one thing I do know, there's one in my box. That's what she said. Go Penarth background over there, you can see the pier. I get a bait up now shown, and we'll get some casting on there as well. Using my Century today, T900, that's what the damage was done on. Cut. So I'll just go through the bait up now that delivered that bass. So we've got little joey mackerels. These are the ones I was catching down Porthcawl this week. They're absolutely tiny, perfect for bait. So just below the head, drop the hook through and loop it around. And then what you want to be doing, same as usual, you've all seen it before, plenty of lashings around that eye of the hook. Not tight where the gut starts flowing out the way, you want that to be in there. Because what I like to do is keep it nice and fresh, and I'll put it back in the cooler, and then just before I put it out, stab it a couple of times with the lead weight, the gripper, just to get the juices flowing. Get it nice and streamlined, and then we'll get our pennel hook. So the main hook today is 4 O's, and I got a 3-O pennel hook, just through the back. Couple of loops, tighten off, and then we'll finish off with some more bait elastic. And keeping my hooks the same side. Like I say, everyone got different preferences. This does work better in terms of snaggy areas, because you've got half a chance of snagging the hook. It's not snaggy here. The biggest issue is if you're fishing too low of water and that lead weight hits too hard, it will get buried in the mud. But that's ready to go out now. Just running through the trace for you then. It's just a standard pulley, about 5 foot. Got the mackerel here. Down to a swivel, down to my gripper. Great, we get us in the box now, ready to go back out. And I'll show you going out shortly. Cheers guys. So it's gone quiet now. There's 6 rods down there in total, the gentleman next to us, and little rattle behind. That's just another gentleman, nothing. It's only that one knock so far, but like I say, I'm done, I'm happy. I'm going to start dropping bits of squid now, just over the side, not out far. Again, I'm not sure what the quality of the sound is like. It doesn't seem too windy, but you can see behind me now as well, darkness is coming down over Cardiff. I'm sure people will be flooding down this way soon, chasing the cod from Penarth, down here, across on Cardiff foreshore. Boats going out. We're offered on a boat now a week tomorrow on Darren Ryan Sea Leopard. Hopefully chasing that blonde. So still going hard now into the darkness. It's 20 past 8, we're an hour off high water. There's a lot more anglers here now, but there's been no action since that first cast bass. I've actually got 3 rods up as well now. I got a little cheap rod just chucked in that side to my right. Squids out there, just seeing if we can get something over there, something small. But yeah, it's gone really quiet now. Beautiful evening, a little bit of wind but nothing major. Rain held off. I had the bass weighed up there as well, it was £5.11. I thought it was a bit bigger, to be honest. Good evening. So it's the day after the night before. So what we're going to do today now is do a little bit of a catch and cook with the bass. So it's already been caught. I was put in my refrigerator in the garage about 4 or 5 hours after being caught, so it's very fresh. And I'm just going to run through a bit of a cook up today, so you have to bear with me. It's the first time for me to do the cooking side of it. I'm no chef, but we'll make a go of it. One of the first things you want to do with a bass now, so I'll put my chest camera on so you can see down. So one of the first things you want to do with a bass is descale it. So I've got all my equipment ready. I've got 2 knives, one filleting knife and one for descaling. So you just hold it by its tail and you can feel the scales going towards the head. So you just get the knife and run it the opposite way to the scales. And as you can see, they are shooting everywhere. So we've descaled one side of the fish now, and you can see the difference when you descaled it, that the shine have gone. So that side still looks like a very shiny silver bar, and that side is more dull. You can hear that's smooth now, and that's not. So what we'll do now, we'll get the other side descaled and then get back to you. So what we're going to do next now is start cutting some of the fins and things off. So we just take these side ones off. It's always good to be prepared. So I've got my scissors ready and I've got a bag for the waist. Underneath as well, they got a big one here on the back. I don't know how much you can see, but we just take that off. Very spiky, the bass on the fins, so be very careful with the fingers. You don't want them going under your fingernails or in your hand. That one's already been done. Small camera so you can see a bit better. Just again, very tough, as you can see. Snipping the skin on the bass is tough, but again, that's one of the nice things I find about cooking it. Then you can have a crispy out the skin. These aren't the best scissors, to be fair. Try and keep the kitchen tidy. But as you can see then, this back dorsal fin, very, very spiky. So just be careful, like I say, when you're doing it. Some people like to cut them off before scaling to prevent your fingers. I probably would have if it was a bit smaller fish, but it's so big it's easy to handle. So I'll get this one cut off now and then come back to the next stage. So now we've got the filleting stage. What I did now off the camera, just went through once more to make sure there's no scales on it, because the last thing you want is picking them out as you're eating it. But what you need now to fillet is an actual filleting knife. So a filleting knife is very thin and flexible, so you can start working it around those bones, etc. So I'm going to start here now at the head. Put my knife in just behind here and cut in to the top, because there's meat right up here. You can see it's starting to show now. And come down you can cut the head off and go from there, but I'm going to try and leave the head on and fillet both sides. Bear with me guys, I'm not the best at this. You can see now this bit of flesh is starting to come away from the head. The next part then is to get your knife. Let's turn the fish. You want to get your knife, find the backbone spine and drop it just the other side of it. Again, it's a little bit tough, the skin, so what you want to do is break it first. Just make a small incision from just behind the backbone here, meeting where you've just been. And just make a little cut right down the back, trying to bend your knife in towards our backbone to have as much flesh off as possible. Start to feel the bones coming burn up. So when we're down to this point now, the knife should go all the way through the fish
coming out the other side. A little bit of pressure down now because we won't get it off. Cut it right down to the tail. The next step now is to work it off the ribs. So we're just making small cuts but pointing the knife back of the ribs, angling it down. Again, there's no rush, take your time, you want to get as much meat off as possible. Make it worth a while. You can see that the bones are coming here now, so I'm just angling the knife again at the ribs, slowly working it off. Making a bit of a mess of this now at the moment. The bones are still catching. That's through now. Put the fish away so we'll see. So what we got here now is one fillet. It's not too bad, but again, just to make it nice and we'll tidy it up, just take the knife, run it through the edges, knife could do a bit of a sharpening. Straighten our edge up there. But yeah, so what we got now here is one fillet. We're still feeling a couple of bones in it. I'm not going to really go around and pick them all up now. I'll cook it and then pick them out as I'm going along. I'll get the other one prepared now and then get back to you. So these are the finished fillets. I've had 4 nice fillets off it. So I'll have a couple of these for lunch tonight, but I might have one big one tonight. And then I'll have some for tomorrow as well. And make a couple of different meals out of them. But I'll get back to you now when I start prepping the full meal. So what we're going to have now with this fish is some new potatoes, carrots, broccoli with some hollandaise sauce, and then we're going to season the vegetables up as well. With the new potatoes, I'm going to turn them into like more of a roasted potato. So what I'm going to do now is put them on to partially boil for 5 minutes or so, just to soften them a bit before I put them in the oven. I don't wash them, I put them straight in. So we'll put them on to boil now. Once it reaches the boil, give them 5 minutes, and we'll start putting them in the oven then. What I'll do is warm up some oil ready, so they're not going out the cold oil, they're going out the warm oil. I find they roast much better that way. I'm going to steam the vegetables, so I'm using my bottom part of the steamer, so the water will already be hot then from boiling the potatoes. So what we're going to do now while we're waiting for them to cook is start cutting up some garlic. So about 5 cloves. Snip the end off so I can peel it. Reasonable sized garlic cloves here now. That's all I'm going to do, is just dice them up. Big knife for this. It's always good to have a good set of knives when you're cutting in. Your knife will just roll through garlic. Probably gone quite overkill here on the garlic, there's a lot of it, but we'll season the potatoes as well as the fish. Sorry guys, our last part didn't record, but it was out to season my potatoes. So I use a jug like this, put the potatoes in, put a knob of butter in, salt, pepper, garlic, mixed herbs and some basil. Mix it all in, and like I said, the butter doesn't really do a great deal other than help bind all the mixture evenly to the potatoes. Because when you put in the oil then, the butter sort of goes away. But when you put it in the oil is piping hot, so just be careful. They're in the oven now, so we'll leave them in for about 45 minutes while I start preparing the fish and the other vegetables. So how I'm going to season my fish. Little knob of butter here. I'm going to put this in the microwave a sec, for 30 seconds if that. So I've got my butter here now. That's all I'm going to do. Tiny bit of salt in the butter, it's unsalted butter, so we got a little bit. Nice bit of pepper. I'm also going to season the fillet with pepper and a little bit of salt. What I'm doing as well is getting it seasoned approximately 30 minutes before cooking. Let it sit in the seasoning for a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit of chili flakes in with the butter. Touch of ground garlic. Some fresh garlic. Start mixing that. And then we're going to go for some mixed herbs. Touch of basil. And then we put on the fillet. I'm going to have to knock up a little bit more, but as you can see here, that's how I'm going to be seasoning the fish. What I'll do now is get another one knocked up for the other fish and then come back to you when we're ready to cook it. So we've got a little bit of oil in here now, brought up the temperature. I'm going to put the fish on now. pan doesn't look the best, looks a bit small. Should be right for the 2 fish though. Terrific size. Just put some of the butter that's hardened and seasoning back over the fish. Should give this now a couple of minutes on each side and we should be done. So it's cooked now, so we're going to sit down and enjoy it. I'll put a picture up now of what it's like, but let's just try the fish. Oh, absolutely beautiful. Hands down the nicest fish I've ever had, I think. Beautiful. Cheers guys. Please like, share and subscribe now, and hopefully we can get back in the fish soon. Cheers.